A new survey of Jewish Londoners says they feel threatened by Islamic extremism, with nearly half fearing they have no future in this country. About two-thirds of British Jews live in Greater London, more than 175,000. This survey was carried out by the Campaign Against Anti-Semitism. It found that 46% of Jewish Londoners feared they had no long-term future in the UK. Just over a quarter, 26%, said they had considered leaving the country in the last 2 years. And 47% felt their family was threatened by Islamic extremism. Well, to discuss this, I'm joined by Rabbi Neil Janes from the Liberal Jewish Synagogue and Jonathan Sacerdoti from the Campaign Against Anti-Semitism. Gentlemen, both, thank you for coming in. Jonathan, if I can start with you, we must point out that the surveys that you carried out were done before the Paris shootings. Do you think that if people were questioned right now, the findings would be even more depressing?
It's certainly true that Islamic fundamentalist terrorism has targeted Jews around the world, and Paris has just been a reminder of that. We saw not that long ago in Toulouse killing of Jewish school children in a Jewish school. We've seen also in the Brussels Jewish Museum people gunned down for being Jewish. And now this latest attack in Paris, people held hostage in a kosher supermarket the day before the Sabbath and then killed simply because they were Jewish. And we can't avoid the fact that Londoners and people all around the UK are aware of these sorts of attacks taking place in Paris and elsewhere in Europe, and they are therefore slightly concerned that this could happen here, especially with the news items concerning British-born jihadis who've come back here having trained in the Middle East just as the killers did in this particular Paris incident.
And have people changed their behaviour at all in light of the Paris attacks?
Well, British Jews, unfortunately, have lived under high security for quite some time in this country. As we heard earlier on in your news report, the whole country is on quite a high terror level of alert. The only higher level that we could get to in this country is if there was a known threat taking place right now. There was some sort of intelligence. Our schools and our synagogues are ringed with razor wire and airport-style security, and that's the way Jews have had to live for some time. So, obviously, security is getting tighter because it's very important that in order to sustain British values of plurality and tolerance, we need to make sure that Britain shows that Jews are safe here and we will be protected from any kind of attack.
Rabbi, as I said, the survey was taken out before the Paris attacks. Were you surprised at the strength of feeling of how threatened people in the Jewish communities are feeling at the moment?
Well, I think the first thing to say is this is important that this has been raised on the agenda. And so from that point of view, I'm really pleased that the Campaign Against Anti-Semitism has been at the forefront of this, and they've done some great work. But I suppose the strength of feeling is not something that I'm familiar with.
Because just to point out, more than half of those questions said they feel the rise in anti-Jewish feeling has echoes of the 1930s. We all know what that means, but the implication is truly shocking if that's true. So,
look, I think the emotional response that people have had to the survey is important, and it's real for those people who've experienced it, and the experience of anti-Semitism is real as well. But I'm not sure about the reliability of the statistics. Certainly, if you asked my congregants, I'm not sure that that would be what they would be expressing as their reality.
How do you respond to that?
Well, of course, at the campaign, we wrote the questions, not the answers. And the over 2,000 Jews who took part in the survey are those who told us whether they agreed or disagreed with the statements we put to them. And those statements were selected because they represented things that we had heard real Jews on the streets of London and around the UK reporting to us as anti-Semitic statements, or rather concerns about anti-Semitism that they had heard, and we wanted to test whether or not these fears were as present as some people were making out within that British Jewish population.
We're going to have to bring it to an end there, I'm afraid. Jonathan Sacerdoti and Rabbi Janes, thank you very much for coming to talk to me. Thank you.